inside House 17 was so horrifying that the entire case was sealed forever. At exactly 2:43 a.m., the night shift at the city police dispatch was unusually quiet. Rain pounded against the station windows, while distant thunder shook the sky. Suddenly, every phone on the dispatch desk rang at the same time. The operator answered one of them. For several seconds, nothing could be heard except heavy breathing. Then a frightened woman whispered in a trembling voice, "Please, help me. It took my daughter. House 17. Please hurry." A little girl's terrified scream echoed in the background. The road was empty. Neither officer said another word. 10 minutes later, they arrived. House 17 stood alone at the edge of a dead forest. Its broken windows looked like empty eyes staring into the darkness. The front gate hung open, gently swinging in the wind with a slow metallic creak. Every nearby house was abandoned. Not a single light could be seen for miles. Rayhan stepped out of the patrol car. The cold air felt strangely unnatural. Even the sound of insects had disappeared. Only silence remained. Then, a child's laugh echoed from somewhere inside the house. Rayhan instantly reached for his flashlight. "Did you hear that?" Maheen didn't answer immediately. Instead, he kept staring at the house. His face had turned pale. Finally, he whispered, "We should call for backup." Rayhan looked surprised. "You've never asked for backup before." Maheen swallowed nervously. "Because no one who entered this house 5 years ago ever came back alive." Before Rayhan could ask another question, a small hand appeared behind the cracked upstairs window. It slowly waved at them. Both officers froze. The window was on the second floor. There was no electricity inside. Yet someone, or something, was standing there. The front door slammed shut with such force that the entire house trembled. Rayhan spun around and grabbed the doorknob. Locked. He pulled harder. Nothing. It felt as if someone on the other side was holding the door closed. Maheen tried helping him, but the old wooden door refused to move. Then, the little girl's laughter echoed through the hallway. It wasn't loud. It was worse. It sounded close enough to whisper directly into their ears. Both officers slowly turned toward the staircase. Each creak echoed unnaturally through the empty house. Was a little girl. The air grew colder with every floor they climbed. She wore a dirty white dress. Rayhan noticed something strange. The walls were covered with old family photographs. Every face had been scratched out. Except one. The little girl. She appeared in every picture, standing in the background, watching. Even in photographs where she shouldn't have existed. Rayhan's heartbeat quickened. He reached out to touch one of the frames. Suddenly, every photograph fell from the wall at exactly the same moment. Glass exploded across the floor. The sound echoed like gunfire. The officers instantly drew their weapons. Their flashlights swept across the hallway. Nothing. No one. Only darkness. Then, a soft whisper drifted through the corridor. "Don't let her see your eyes." Rayhan spun toward the sound. For a few terrifying seconds, neither officer could breathe. The beam of Rayhan's flashlight slowly climbed toward the ceiling. Drip, drip, drip. Dark red blood continued falling onto the wooden floor. Then the light reached the source. Rayhan's heart nearly stopped. Dozens of bodies were hanging upside down from the ceiling. Police officers, still wearing old uniforms. Their skin was pale. Their eyes were wide open. Every one of them stared directly at Raihan. None of them blinked. Maheen whispered with a shaking voice, "Those uniforms." He stepped closer. "I know them." Raihan looked at him in confusion. "What do you mean?" Maheen pointed toward one of the bodies. "The badge. Officer Kareem."
12. 13. They kept walking. More doors appeared. 14. 15. 16. Finally, they stopped in front of the last door. The number read 17. From behind it came slow, heavy breathing. Neither officer moved. Then, a loud knock echoed from the other side. One knock. Then, another. Boom. 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 The old door slowly creaked open by itself. Inside was a room that looked exactly like a police dispatch center. The phones were ringing non-stop. Every computer screen displayed the same emergency call. House 17. The current time read 2:43 a.m., the exact time they had received the call. Raihan picked up the nearest phone. A terrified woman cried, "Please, someone help me! It took my daughter!" He recognized the voice immediately. It was the same emergency call that had sent them there. But then, the woman suddenly screamed, "Don't send Officer Maheen! He's already dead!" The call disconnected. Silence. Raihan slowly turned toward his partner. Raihan's heart pounded so hard he could hear it echoing inside his head. The towering figure stood motionless in the corner of the dispatch room. It wore a police uniform unlike any Raihan had ever seen. The fabric was torn and stained with dried blood. Rust covered the old metal badge on its chest. The name had almost completely faded away. Only 2 words remained visible: Chief Officer. The room suddenly became freezing cold. Raihan's breath turned into white mist. He tightened his grip on his service pistol. "Police!" he shouted. "Show me your hands!" The figure didn't move. Instead, every telephone in the room began ringing at once. Ring, ring, ring. The sound grew louder until it became unbearable. One by one, the receivers lifted off their cradles by themselves. Dozens of terrified voices filled the room. "Help us. He's behind me. Don't let it find you. We never made it out." Then, over all the other voices, one stood out. It was Maheen. "Raihan, don't listen to anything in this house." Raihan quickly grabbed the nearest phone. "Maheen, where are you?" Only static answered. Then another voice whispered through the receiver. A voice that sounded impossibly close. "Turn around." Raihan slowly lowered the phone. Bang! The gunshot echoed through the room. The bullet passed straight through the nearest hand. It didn't slow it down. More hands reached toward him. He backed into the hallway and slammed the door shut. The ringing instantly stopped. Silence. For a brief moment, he thought he was safe. Then, a familiar voice echoed behind him. "Raihan?" It was Maheen, standing at the end of the hallway. His uniform was soaked with blood. His face was pale,
But this time, his eyes looked normal. "I found the exit," Mahin said quietly. "We have to leave. Now." Relieved, Rayhan hurried toward him. But something felt wrong. Mahin wasn't blinking. Not once. As Rayhan got closer, he noticed muddy footprints behind Mahin. The footprints weren't leading toward him. They were leading away from the wall, as if Mahin had just walked out of it. Rayhan stopped. "Mahin, tell me something only you would know." Mahin smiled. For a second, everything seemed normal. Then the smile became wider and wider, until it stretched unnaturally from one ear to the other. His jaw cracked. His teeth sharpened. His eyes turned completely black. In a voice that was no longer human, he whispered, "The real Mahin is still screaming."
Rayhan's body refused to move. The chief officer stood silently at the end of the corridor, his face hidden beneath a darkness so deep that even the flashlight couldn't penetrate it. The hallway suddenly became unnaturally quiet. No wind, no thunder, no footsteps. Only the slow sound of breathing. But it wasn't Rayhan's. It was coming from everywhere. The evidence shelves began shaking. One by one, every evidence box fell onto the floor. Their lids burst open. Hundreds of police badges scattered across the room. Every badge belonged to an officer who had disappeared. Then, the radios inside the boxes turned on simultaneously. Different voices cried through the static. "Please help us. Don't let it see you. Burn the house. It's pretending to be one of us." The desperate voices overlapped until they became one deafening scream. Rayhan covered his ears. The lights above exploded. Darkness swallowed the room. Then, a cold hand rested on his shoulder. He froze. A familiar voice whispered behind him. The walls burst open. Hundreds of pale hands clawed their way out, grabbing at Rayhan's uniform from every direction. He fought desperately, kicking and pulling free as the house echoed with the screams of trapped souls. The chief officer still stood perfectly still. His outstretched hand held the silver badge, waiting. Rayhan remembered the warning that had come through every police radio. "Don't take it." He threw the badge onto the floor. The moment it hit the ground, the entire house let out a deafening roar. The lights flashed violently. The walls cracked from floor to ceiling. Every clock inside the house stopped at exactly 2:43 a.m. The chief officer slowly lowered his head. For the first time, he spoke in a calm, emotionless voice. "Then, you will replace me." The darkness covering his face slowly disappeared. Rayhan stared in horror. The face beneath wasn't a monster. It was his own face. Older, covered in scars. Its eyes were completely black. The older Rayhan smiled. The trapped spirits repeated the call again and again, luring new officers inside so they could take their place. The house didn't kill randomly. It always needed one new guardian before it would release one old soul. The older Rayhan slowly faded into dust. At the same moment, dozens of ghostly police officers appeared around the room. Among them stood Maheen. This time, he looked peaceful. He gave Rayhan one final salute. "I'm sorry. I couldn't save you." A bright white light surrounded Maheen and the other officers. One by one, they disappeared forever. The house fell silent. Outside, the storm suddenly ended. Morning sunlight broke through the broken windows. Hours later, a new police search team arrived at House 17. The front door stood wide open. Inside, they found no bodies, no evidence of a struggle. Only an old flashlight lying on the floor. Its batteries were still working. Next to it was a sealed confidential police report. Across the front were the words, "Case 17, permanently closed." One officer carefully opened the file. Inside was a single photograph. It showed a young police officer standing in the upstairs window of House 17. He wore a clean police uniform, a silver badge, and empty black eyes. The name beneath the photograph read, Officer Rayhan. The officer looked up toward the second-floor window. For just a second, he thought he saw Rayhan slowly raise one hand, as if inviting them inside. Then the window went dark. The official report filed that morning contained only one sentence. No evidence was found inside House 17. But that report was never released to the public, because the security camera from the police car recorded something no one could explain. As the officers drove away, a new emergency call reached dispatch. The recording lasted exactly 11 seconds. A frightened little girl's voice whispered, "Please, help me. House 17